Hi, welcome back to the Loony Bin, and this might be one of my most controversial videos on this channel. Why? Because I'm going to be talking about shipping in One Piece. Because, oh boy, if there's one thing people really hate discussing, it is shipping in One Piece. Because, god damn it, you either love your ship, hate people shipping, or, other ships hating other ships because my ship is canon, how yours, blah, blah, blah. That kind of nonsense. So, why is this going to be one of my more controversial videos? Because I am going to give you guys, basically, a percentage of what I believe to be the most canon ship among the Straw Hats. Just in general, like, a Straw Hat shipping with another character. That's basically it, whether it's within the Straw Hats or outside of the Straw Hats. I'm going to give you basically a small taste of how I view some of these ships. And again, I want to reiterate, it is my opinion. My opinion doesn't have to necessarily agree with yours. But guess what? It is my opinion. Your opinion could be something else. But guess what? Just like assholes, everyone has an opinion. So yours may not be automatically facts. So just calm down. This is, again, my interpretation. And seeing as how shipping is a very controversial topic, I decided to basically relax myself as I'm doing this. So I have my trusty clipboard. Gonna relax like this in my armchair because I know I'm gonna get some flack among the comments, assuming this video does really well. And let us begin by starting off with the ship that I think is gonna be almost 100% canon in the story. Okay, the first ship we're talking about is, of course, Zoro Sanji. Obviously, if you don't know, Zoro Sanji just have this sexual tension between each other. They hate each other, but you know damn well deep inside they are in love with each other, man. Oh my goodness. Yo, the sexual tension between the two is just, it's just boiling up. I guarantee you, at some point, that tension is going to boil up, and then Oda is going to make a huge indication that ship is going to be 100% canon, and Zoro Sanji fans will finally be able to unite and forever love both characters forever. Okay, I made that up. Okay, it's not going to happen. Zoro Sanji fans will never love each other. Zoro Sanji, on the other hand, is a very popular ship in the One Piece community. Whether or not it's going to be canon, more than likely zero. Why? Because I do not believe Oda would do that with two characters he has continuously argues over time and time again. So basically, if you haven't noticed yet, I'm joking. Zoro Sanji is not 100%. I didn't even know if I could give Zoro Sanji any sort of percentage. But you know what? That's the cool thing about shipping. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you get to ship any characters you want. It doesn't matter because it's all about the fun of it. But let me get more serious. Okay, now I'm a lot more serious. Alright, let's begin. Okay, first ship. This ship actually is more than likely going to be 100% canon. It is Usopp Kaya. The reason being is that Usopp and Kaya, I think everybody could really see that there's some sort of more than friendship vibe you get from them when you first meet them. And it's just that, Usopp has always been trying to make Kaya happy. Kaya is always very welcoming to, his presence. And there's just like, they made a promise, I guess, to each other that they'll eventually, Usopp will return to tell all these great stories. It's very, very highly unlikely Usopp will end up with anybody else because, frankly, Usopp and Kaya kind of like, you get the sort of vibe that they are meant for each other and, they're going to be canon. It's probably one of the most canon ships out there, which is why I give it 100% because I fully believe it will happen. So, pretty simple, I think almost everybody will agree with it unless you are a Nami Usopp shipper, which for me personally, Nami Usopp, I don't have a percentage for them. If I did give them a percentage, probably like a 15%, only simply because they're like best friends. They just have that best friend moniker where like they're both silly, they're both goofy, they both are scaredy cats. So they have a lot in common, but they're more of like the best friends vibe. There's no sort of attraction with each other, so it just wouldn't make any sense for Nami Usopp, right? So I feel like Usopp Kai is probably the only Usopp ship that's like almost gonna be guaranteed. So that's why I only have an Usopp Kaya ship on here because it's like guaranteed that they're going to wind up together, right? Now, let's go on to the nitty-gritty where a lot of people will definitely have different opinions on me and definitely call out me and tell me I'm stupid, I'm whack, I hate you, I hate this ship. Go fuck yourself. All those wonderful comments that you love to see among the shipping community. So we're gonna go from the highest percentage ranking I have for which ship is more likely going to be canon down to the lowest, right? So first off, I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible with these ships, so just so that you could see through just like an unbiased lens. Even though if anyone knows me, everyone who has watched this channel knows which ship I prefer. But I'll try to be as unbiased as possible, just based off like my way of thinking and how I view romance in general. And just we'll see how it goes. But the highest percentage ship that I think is most likely to become canon, and if you follow this channel long enough, it's Luffy Nami. Here's the reason why Luffy Nami I think has the highest chance of happening among any of the Straw Hats at 65%. Discord, ignore it, whatever. 65%. You see, already getting the hate comments from Discord. It's at 65%. Why do I say 65%? Because if you realize how the story is written specifically, you do have the hero-heroine situation with Luffy and Nami. Nami's the heroine of the series. She's been there the longest. She's been the longest running female character among all the Straw Hats, among any character in One Piece. And you also notice as you continue reading through, as Oda slowly develops more romances, specifically post-time skip, you notice a pattern in the way he writes romance, right? There's a certain pattern with certain characters that really, really show you just how he views how romance should be taken in One Piece. A lot of the canon romantic ships are, people, have, where they get married, they have kids and stuff like Toki Odin. I view the story so far, and I feel like 65% is a good number. I wouldn't say 100%, I wouldn't say 90%, 80% or anything like that, because at the end of the day, the problem with this ship, I think in the long run, is that you don't necessarily see much romantic moments from Luffy's side. You kind of see slightly from Nami's side, but that could just be, misinterpretation from the shipping fandom and stuff like that. So it's like, I think out of all the ships, I feel like Luffy Nami is probably the most canon story-wise, and it's the highly likeliest ship to happen, if there is any ships to happen. I also probably should tell you this. There's no guarantee ships will happen in One Piece, right? And if there's any ship that does happen, it's not going to happen until the end of the series. Maybe even the epilogue. Because I understand people always frustrated with ships, Oh, Oda doesn't write romance. Oh, it will ruin dynamic. It won't ruin the dynamic at all. I don't know why people say this. It's dumb. And frankly, nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change regarding that. But again, there should not be anything, regarding this, like the dynamic part, because it's not going to happen to the end of the series. Oda's not going to write romance during the series because they're focused on the adventure. They're focused on getting the One Piece. It's not going to happen at any point in time until EOS, epilogue, around closer to the end of the series. So I don't know why people have that. But I do think Luffy Nami, at the end of the day, at EOS, you're either going to get confirmation that they are either not necessarily together, but it's hinted at, or it will be left open for, for people to determine however they want. That being said, I still believe that Luffy Nami has the highest chance of any Straw Hat ship aside from Usopp Kaya that would become canon. So let's move on. I don't want to go into deep depth about why the 65%, because there's other ships I want to get to, but that's basically it. The next ship after that, I think has the highest chance after that, will be Sanji Pudding. The reason why Sanji Pudding is because you already have the basis of two characters that are very similar to each other, but also slightly different. You have Pudding who feels like she has never been loved, which Sanji also feels that with his family. Pudding kind of feels that with her family because of the third eye. You have the whole wedding thing. You have, all of WCI. You have all those moments of WCI where you could kind of see many different romantic elements, romantic moments between them. And then, of course, you have the kiss scene, which Pudding did erase. I will. That's where, like, part of the ship kind of falters because we don't know where Oda's going to take this afterwards. But I do believe that the kiss is going to come back, especially with what happened recently in the manga. I won't spoil it. But it's very possible that Sanji Pudding will be revisited in some form of capacity. And I think Sanji Pudding has a higher chance just because of the fact that there is, at least out of all these Straw Hat ships, there's literally a romantic moment. There's literally a romantic moment. Why would Oda put a romantic moment between the Straw Hat and any other character unless there's a meaning behind it? Oda usually never does anything unless there's a meaning behind it. So why would he have Pudding kiss Sanji? And I get she erased his memories, but why wouldn't that be a thing? Now, of course, the other issue is that, Sanji's 21, Pudding is 16. But, it's going to be like a 5-year gap. There's a lot of, couples out there who have a 5-year gap, but they usually don't do anything until, like, after, they're both adults. So, I think that's what hurt Sanji Pudding at the end of the day. But overall, I think they have the second highest, which is at 55%. Next up, I have Frankie Robin here at 50%. Simply because there is hints slightly throughout the manga. There's also, there's a color page that's a very little sus. I don't put too much into color pages that much. But there is something a little sus about one of the color page cover spreads that makes Frankie Robin kind of like, okay, that's interesting. Then you also have most of post time skip. You have Frankie sleeping on Robin's, lap during Punk Hazard. You have Frankie inviting Robin on a ride. There seems to be more and more hints of Frankie and Robin more than any other Robin ship, I think. I know that doesn't sound great for many Zoro Robin shippers. But the problem with Zoro Robin, I will get to in a bit, is just Zoro himself. That's really the big issue with Zoro. Zoro is literally him. But I think that Frankie and Robin are a lot more comfortable. Frankie's the one who told her, that she has a right to live. No one has the right to not live, stuff like that. And that probably meant a lot for her. And you could definitely see like some sort of something happening there. It's not necessarily something that is conclusive, but I do think with those hints, there is a chance that Frankie Robin could become a canon ship, and I do have him at 50% because, it's 50-50. Whether or not something does happen, whether or not something doesn't, I don't know. We will see. But again, these are all just my opinion, and just like, none of these are factual, none of these are ships that are canon, or I think will be canon. I just think these are just going to be those ships that I think, in my opinion, have the highest percentage of being canon. I just want to reiterate that. It's an opinion. So this is an opinion piece. It's not facts. After Frankie Robin at 50%, I have Sanji Nami at 40%. And 40% wise because a lot of the stuff between Sanji and Nami, most of it comes from Sanji's side. Frankly, Nami's side, she's not interested in Sanji in that way. You see it in very different scenarios throughout the story where, like, Sanji's like, oh, I wrote you a love letter, and Nami just ignores it. Or, Sanji's being a pervert, or, he does this perverted gag, and Nami just angry at him, annoyed, punches the shit out of him, So it's like Sanji Nami, I can't say it's low, I can't put it higher than 50%, I can put it like at least 40%. Because there's always a possibility. You don't know how some authors can switch up very easily in the way they write romances throughout the story. Because throughout my experience of shipping, there's countless times where the author switches up out of nowhere. But there's always a possibility Oda might switch it up. But I just see it highly unlikely just because of the pattern he's showing. Regardless, I think Sanji Nami has a 40% chance. See, look at that. Already getting hate from people. And, it's weird. I can't really follow Sanji Nami. I can't really ship it just because I don't like Sanji's gag. Me personally. But I still think 40% is at least somewhat valid for a ship. Also because, aside from Luffy Nami, Sanji Nami is probably the only other ship that really you see the most time with throughout the manga. You see more time with Luffy Nami than any other ship. But Sanji Nami comes like a very close second in, like, basically screen time. So yeah, and we'll see what happens. Next up I have Luffy Hancock at 35%. Here's the reason why, like I said, 35%. It could be 40%. It could be on the same wavelength as Sanji Nami. I put it less because there's less screen time between the two. So Luffy Hancock is very similar to Sanji Nami in the sense that you have one side liking each other, liking the other, I should say, liking the other. I don't know why I say liking each other, but liking the other, right? Hancock really has fallen in love with Luffy. Luffy, on the other hand, does not give two shits. I wouldn't say give two shits. My bad. That's me using the wrong words. I think that Luffy cares enough about Hancock, but more as a friend than anything else. He's grateful for her for helping her, save Ace. But he has rejected her several times. I believe the count is like 3 times now. And Luffy, like, Hancock is... I just see it as, like, if they had more screen time together... And I'm not talking about the 2-year time skip, because frankly they probably didn't have a lot of screen time even during 2-year time skip, because most of the time Rayleigh was making sure that nobody bothered Luffy at that point, right? And there's also the age gap. Hancock meets Luffy when he's 17. That's a little weird, right? And yeah, it's just it's hard to see this happen simply just because Luffy does not care enough about Hancock being in love with him. That could change. But unless they have more screen time, unless they, interact more often in the manga, which they don't necessarily do, and just, there needs to be more screen time, the same thing with Sanji Pudding, but at least with Sanji Pudding, you actually have something happen romantically, connection-wise, which was the kiss. So, yeah. I have Luffy Hancock at 35%. Next up after that is Zoro Robin at 30%. Zoro Robin is an interesting ship, but you don't necessarily see romance between them. You do see Zoro saving Robin countless times, but you also have other characters do that. You have Brooke sometimes doing that. You have Frankie sometimes doing that and stuff like that. And it's weird because Zoro just doesn't seem interested romantically in any sort of way. A lot of the stuff that you see in like the anime can sometimes be considered filler. And Zoro just doesn't have any interest right now. Robin, there's the age gap issue, and Robin to me, in regards to Zoro, seems like she's more of like teasing him more than anything. But of course that could be, any sort of ground for like any sort of, shipping wise as to why people ship them. You also have the first supportive character to the MC compared to the second female character whole scenario. Story wise, you have that. But overall, I think I just cannot put Zoro Robin anything higher than like a 30%. So, yeah, that's where that is at. After that, we have 2 ships at 25%. I have Zoro Tashigi and Sanji Viola. Zoro Tashigi is interesting, and why I put them at 25% over 30% for Zoro Robin is that Zoro Tashigi, not enough screen time. You at least have screen time between Zoro and Robin because, they are Straw Hats. Zoro Tashigi is, you don't have them on the screen times. They don't necessarily like each other. Zoro just finds issues with Tashigi because she reminds him, again, more hate. She reminds him of, Kuina. So, you see, there's that issue. I don't know if, that's something significant to Zoro in terms of, any sort of romance. But, again, Zoro just has a difficult time showing any sort of romance issues. And it's just, I don't know. It's just very hard for me to picture Zoro Tashigi. However, I can view this ship getting higher in my percentage rate, maybe even surpass Zoro Robin as the Zoro ship. So yeah, you have that. I don't have it here, but I should talk about it, and I'm sorry I didn't realize this before. Zoro Hiyori is a ship that is probably higher than Zoro Robin and Zoro Tashigi because there is more of romantic interest from Hiyori's side a little bit compared to Robin Tashigi. For Zoro again, not really much of connection in regards to Hiyori in terms of romantic wise. If Zoro Hiyori is probably I would put it as a 35% for Zoro Hiyori because at least Hiyori may or may not have some sort of interest in Zoro romantically. There is something there. I could see something there, but I don't know. It's just very hard to ship Zoro with anybody because he's more of that tough, stern-looking guy who will eventually, I think, find romance in some form of way. But I just do not see him at all at any point in time currently. Maybe at US, but at any time currently, just showing no interest romantically. Maybe it's because I don't maybe his view of something like romantic is different from what I perceived it as. But who knows, right? Zoro Hiyori is at 35%. And yeah, like I understand also the argument like, well, Luffy doesn't show anymore. Yeah, that's why I don't have Luffy Nami at 100% or like anything higher than 65%. But the pattern is still there. The pattern is still freaking there, right? But yeah, let's go back down. Sanji Viola is the other ship that was at 25%, right? Sanji Viola has an interesting dynamic because Viola does seem like she has some sort of interest in Sanji. You know, there seems to be something there, but I think the issue now becomes is that now Pudding has arrived, that automatically lowers their chances because Viola, you know, I just don't see anything happening between Sanji and Viola anymore. Because now that Oda introduced Pudding and that whole romantic structure that he has put there, you know, with the kissing that she eventually erased from his memory. So, you know, it's very possible that, you know, Sanji Viola has diminished with the, you know, introduction of Pudding. But we'll see if they ever, you know, if Oda ever comes back to them. So we'll see. We'll see. And the last ship I have here for this video, because I now realize I have been talking for about 30 minutes, is Luffy Vivi. Now, Luffy Vivi is interesting because they don't interact as much after Alabasta. You know, Vivi is still very happy whenever she hears Luffy or, you know, looks at the newspaper talking about Luffy and stuff like that. So there is something there. Vivi will definitely eventually return to the story, or return to the Straw Hats at some point. I do believe that, and we'll see what happens, but I just do not see anything happen regarding that in terms of Luffy Vivi. And yeah, it's just, you know, it's just like one of those things where like Luffy just, again, is probably not gonna be interested at all in any of the romance until like after his journey and after his goal is finished. You know, the same thing with Luffy Nami, right? He's probably not gonna you know, do anything regarding that. So it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, Luffy V is probably the lowest chance of happening out of any of the ships I have here. At 20%, and yeah, like you could pick out the moments, you could pick out some of the stuff. You could say that the voice actress for Luffy really adores Luffy Vivi, so there's that. So yeah, 20%. So that was my opinion of the percentage chances of some of the Straw Hats ever being romantically involved with anybody. Of course, there are other Straw Hats that I could have put down, like with Chopper, with Zoe, Nurse Doctor. I forgot what her name was. Milky? Yes, Milky. I think she was also a reindeer. Or deer. Something. Anyway, you know, I could have done that, but there's not enough information regarding that put a percentage on. Out of the Chopper ships, that's probably the only strong one you have, really. But yeah, those are my opinions. Those are the percentage chances of I think ships can happen. And I am now stuck in this position because my legs have fell asleep. So I will bid you adieu. Again, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You can comment about why you think your ship has a higher chance than any other ships that I picked. But just know that I will either respond or just cry, because you guys can be very mean on the internet. My God. Ugh. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Again, please be respectful down in the comments. And yeah, if you don't like my opinion on like which ship is the most canon, then well, you have your opinion. So that's all that matters, I guess, in the end. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. See you soon. Prepare. Get ready for more shipping videos because I really like talking about shipping. So get ready for more. So thank you again. Bye bye. Subscribe. Woo. Comments. Don't be so mean.